Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And this time, we're tackling something that's a little unnerving, but totally captivating.
Okay.
It's space junk.
Oh, wow.
We've got a fascinating article here that lays out the growing problem of debris in orbit. And it gets pretty real when you consider the potential consequences, like losing GPS internet access, even weather forecasting. It's a bigger deal than most people realize. Luckily, we've got our expert here to help us unpack all this and explore some seriously out there solutions. I'm talking about solutions that sound straight out of science fiction.
It's true. The situation is more dire than many people realize. This article does a great job of explaining the basics of Kessler Syndrome, which is essentially a chain reaction of collisions in space.
I'm picturing like a cosmic domino effect. One collision leads to more debris, causing more collisions.
And so on.
Exactly. It's a cascading effect that could eventually create a dense, impenetrable belt of space junk around Earth. And that's a problem, right? I mean, we need to keep launching stuff up there. Satellites, telescopes, maybe even pizza delivery drones someday.
Well, maybe not pizza drones just yet, but you're right. Access to space is crucial for so many aspects of modern life. And the article highlights how even seemingly positive developments like the rise of microsatellites are adding to the problem.
That's interesting. Microsatellites are supposed to be a good thing, right? Smaller, cheaper, more accessible space technology. What's the downside?
The downside is sheer numbers. Take SpaceX's Starlink project, for example. They've already launched thousands of satellites for global internet coverage, and they plan to launch tens of thousands more. While this does increase access to the internet, it also increases the risk of collisions in an already crowded low Earth orbit.
So more satellites equal more potential for collisions, which creates more debris, and the cycle continues.
Precisely. It's a complex problem with a lot of moving parts. And the article makes a really compelling point about our dependence on satellites. We rely on them for communication, navigation, weather forecasting, financial transactions, even national security.
It's easy to forget how much of our daily lives depends on what's happening way up there. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Space junk is a real and growing threat, potentially jeopardizing our access to space and disrupting all sorts of essential services. But I have a feeling you've got some ideas on how to tackle this cosmic clutter. What's got you excited about the future of space junk mitigation?
Well, this article touches on a truly fascinating concept: orbital cleanup, using remote-controlled drones, potentially operated through virtual reality technology right here on Earth.
Hold on. VR space cleanup crews. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it? And it's a lot closer to reality than you might think. The article explores the potential for skilled operators on Earth wearing VR headsets to control these drones remotely, maneuvering them with precision to capture and remove debris from orbit.
Sign me up. Seriously, what would that even be like?
Well, imagine the immersive nature of virtual reality, the haptic feedback, the visuals, allowing these operators to feel the resistance of a robotic arm grappling a piece of debris, sense the drone's movements, even experience the vastness of space, all from a control station on Earth.
Now, that's a job I could get behind. Forget data entry. I want to be a space janitor. Keeping the cosmos clean.
You and me both. But let's break it down a bit. How would these drones actually capture the debris? I mean, we're talking about everything from tiny flecks of paint to massive defunct satellites, right?
Right, one size fits all net, maybe. Or a giant space vacuum cleaner.
A space vacuum would be pretty amazing. But in reality, we're looking at a range of capture mechanisms: robotic arms, nets, even harpoons to snag larger pieces of junk.
Okay, now you're really speaking my language. Space harpoons. It's getting better and better. Once captured, what happens to the debris?
The captured debris could be safely deorbited, meaning guided back into Earth's atmosphere, where it would burn up harmlessly upon re-entry. Like a shooting star. No more cosmic clutter.
This is all sounding incredibly promising and really cool. But I have to ask, wouldn't controlling a drone in space from Earth come with some challenges? I mean, space is vast. Signals have to travel a long way. Wouldn't there be a lag between commands and the drone's response?
That's a great point. It's something the article touches on as well, and it's a crucial consideration for any system relying on remote operation. We're talking about significant distances and the speed of light.
So how do we overcome those latency issues?
That's where things get even more interesting. The article suggests that these cleanup drones would need a combination of real-time control for precise maneuvers and autonomous capabilities for tasks that don't require immediate human intervention.
Okay, so a mix of human control and AI smarts. Kind of like a self-driving car. with a human driver ready to take the wheel when needed.
Exactly. This hybrid approach allows us to leverage the best of both worlds. Human expertise for those complex tasks, like capturing a tricky piece of debris, and the efficiency of automation for routine operations, like scanning for debris or navigating to specific locations.
I can see how that would be essential in a dynamic environment like space. But I'm curious, what kind of technical challenges would need to be overcome? To make this a reality, I imagine developing robust and reliable capture mechanisms for such a diverse range of debris would be a huge undertaking.
Absolutely. We're talking about a wide range of sizes, shapes, and even material composition, so a one-size-fits-all approach simply wouldn't work. Engineers would need to get pretty creative to develop capture mechanisms that are both effective and safe. Remember, we don't want to create more debris in the process of cleaning it up.
That makes sense. So it's not as simple as just equipping every drone with a giant net.
Not quite, and even something like a net would need to be incredibly robust and adaptable to capture different types of debris.
All right, so nets are out. What else is on the table? I'm all for creative solutions. The more sci-fi, the better.
Well, one idea that's been floated, and I have to admit it does sound pretty cool, is using harpoons.
Space harpoons. Now you're talking my language. Tell me more.
Imagine a drone launching a tethered harpoon to snag a large piece of debris. The tether could then be used to reel in the debris, or even to slow it down and alter its trajectory.
It's like something out of the space western. But wouldn't using harpoons be a bit risky? I mean, could they accidentally create more debris if they puncture a fuel tank or something?
That's a valid concern, and it's why careful planning and precise targeting would be crucial. We'd need to map the debris field very carefully and identify potential hazards before deploying any capture methods.
Okay, so safety is a top priority. No accidental space explosions. But this is all sounding very, very cool.
It is exciting, and what's even more exciting is that the potential for these cleanup drones to evolve and adapt is enormous. We're talking about a rapidly developing field with endless possibilities. For example, researchers are already exploring the use of lasers to vaporize small pieces of debris or to nudge larger objects into a lower orbit where they'll eventually burn up in the atmosphere.
Lasers.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're really venturing into sci-fi territory, but that's a perfect transition. Let's talk about the future of this technology. What are some of the broader implications of VR-controlled cleanup drones? What does it mean for the future of space exploration?
It really is amazing to think about where this technology could lead. Imagine instead of just worrying about space junk, we're actively managing our orbital environment. It changes the whole game.
Okay, I am officially on board with this vision of the future. Lasers, harpoons, VR, space janitors. It's like a sci-fi movie come to life. But let's bring it back down to Earth for a moment. What are some of the real-world challenges we need to consider when it comes to implementing these solutions?
That's a great question. One of the biggest challenges is simply the sheer scale of the problem. We're talking about millions of pieces of debris spread out over a vast area.
So how do we even begin to tackle something that massive?
Well, that's where things like advanced tracking systems and AI-powered algorithms come into play. We need to be able to identify and prioritize the most dangerous pieces of debris. The article mentions that even small fragments, traveling at incredibly high speeds, can cause significant damage to satellites and spacecraft.
It's like a cosmic minefield up there. Okay, so we need to track the debris, prioritize the threats, and then deploy our fleet of VR-controlled cleanup drones.
Yeah.
Armed with their lasers and harpoons. What else?
Another big challenge is coordination. Space is a global commons, and no single country is responsible for cleaning it up. We need international collaboration and cooperation to develop shared standards and regulations for debris mitigation.
That makes sense. It's not like we can just have a space junk free-for-all with everyone launching their own cleanup missions and potentially creating even more chaos.
Exactly. We need a unified approach. And that requires diplomacy and agreements between nations.
So we've got the technological challenges,
Yes.
the logistical challenges, the international cooperation challenges. Are there any other hurdles we need to clear?
Well, one thing that the article doesn't address directly is the economic side of things. Developing and deploying these cleanup technologies will require significant investment.
That's true. Space exploration is notoriously expensive. But I imagine the cost of doing nothing, of letting the space junk problem spiral out of control, would be even higher.
Absolutely. If we lose access to space, the economic and technological impacts would be enormous. Think about the disruption to communications, navigation, weather forecasting, the list goes on and on.
It's like an insurance policy for space. We need to invest now to protect our future access. and all the benefits that come with it. Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, but what about the opportunities? I mean, this whole concept of VR-controlled cleanup drones, it's not just about mitigating risks. It's also about creating new possibilities, right?
You're absolutely right. This technology has the potential to revolutionize not just how we clean up space junk, but how we interact with space in general.
Give me an example.
Well, think about the potential for new industries and job creation. We've already talked about VR space cleanup pilots, but there would be a whole ecosystem of supporting roles. Engineers, technicians, software developers, data analysts. The possibilities are endless.
It's like the early days of aviation, when people were just beginning to imagine the possibilities of flight. Now we have a whole industry built around air travel, and it's transformed the world.
Exactly. And this new era of space exploration has the potential to be even more transformative. We're talking about opening up access to resources, pushing the boundaries of scientific discovery, and maybe even establishing a permanent human presence beyond Earth.
There you really get my imagination going.
Yeah.
But let's focus on the here and now. What can our listeners do to be a part of this exciting future? I mean, not everyone can be a VR space pilot, right?
Right. Not everyone will be piloting a drone through a field of space junk. But there are so many ways to get involved. The first step is simply to stay curious. Keep learning about space exploration, about the challenges and opportunities we've discussed today. The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to contribute to the conversation.
Knowledge is power. So read articles, watch documentaries, listen to podcasts like this one. Get yourself space savvy. What else?
Don't underestimate the power of your voice. Talk to your friends and family about this issue. Share your enthusiasm for the future of space exploration. Advocate for responsible policies that prioritize sustainability and debris mitigation.
Be the change you want to see in the cosmos.
Exactly. And if you're feeling really inspired, consider pursuing a career in a field related to space technology. We need bright minds and passionate individuals to help us navigate the challenges and opportunities of this new era.
So whether you're a seasoned space enthusiast or just starting to explore this fascinating field, there's a role for everyone in shaping the future of humanity's relationship with space. This conversation has been absolutely mind-blowing. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the looming threat of Kessler Syndrome to the inspiring possibilities of VR space cleanup pilots and the incredible economic and societal opportunities that come with it. But before we get too carried away with our visions of the future, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. I think one of the most important takeaways is that space is not just some vast empty frontier. It's a shared resource, a global commons that we all have responsibility to protect and preserve.
I couldn't agree more. And it's encouraging to see that there are so many brilliant minds working on solutions to the challenges we face. From technological innovations to international cooperation.
It's clear that the future of space exploration is full of possibilities. And it's up to all of us to ensure that it's a future where humanity thrives, not just survives. This has been an incredible deep dive. We've explored the problem of space debris, the potential of VR-controlled cleanup drones, and the broader implications of this technology for the future of space exploration. But what's really exciting is that this is just the beginning. We're on the cusp of a new era of space exploration, and the possibilities are truly limitless.
It's an incredible time to be alive, and to witness this unfolding story, who knows what other amazing discoveries and advancements await us as we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible.
So keep looking up, keep dreaming big, and keep exploring the wonders of the universe. That's it for this deep dive. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic and another insightful guest. Until then, keep those space helmets polished and those VR headsets charged. And hey, if you could design your own space cleanup drone, what would it look like? What kind of cool features would it have? Share your ideas with us online. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, deep divers, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring. You know, it really feels like we're on the verge of something big when it comes to space exploration.
I agree. The article even touches on the idea that jobs of the future might involve working in orbit or further out in space.
Working in space, sign me up. It's like all the sci-fi dreams we had as kids are starting to become reality.
Exactly. And think about the role that companies like SpaceX and their Starlink project could play in making that happen. With a reliable and affordable way to get people and equipment into space, the possibilities become almost endless.
So instead of just launching satellites for communication, we could be launching entire workforces, space construction crews, space miners, maybe even space tour guides.
And who knows, maybe those VR space cleanup pilots we were talking about. could be the pioneers of this new space workforce, paving the way for even more ambitious projects.
I love that idea. It's like the Wild West of space exploration, with all these new frontiers to discover and conquer.
But just like the pioneers of the Old West, we need to be mindful of the environment and the resources we're using. It's not just about staking our claim in space. It's about doing so in a way that's sustainable and responsible.
Right, we don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. We need to learn from history and approach space exploration with a sense of respect and stewardship.
Absolutely, and I think that's where the concept of VR space cleanup comes in. It's a symbol of our commitment to cleaning up our act, to taking responsibility for the impact we're having on the space environment.
It's like we're saying, hey, we're here to explore and discover, but we're also here to be good neighbors.
Exactly, and who knows? Maybe one day those space cleanup crews will be hailed as heroes, the ones who help preserve our access to space for generations to come.
Space heroes, battling cosmic clutter and ensuring the future of human exploration. Now that's a story I can get behind.
And it's a story that's just beginning to unfold. The future of space exploration is full of challenges and uncertainties, but it's also brimming with potential and excitement.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've journeyed from the daunting reality of space junk to the awe-inspiring vision of a future where humans are working and thriving in space.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this adventure. We hope you've come away with a renewed sense of wonder about the cosmos and a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Remember, space exploration is a collective endeavor, and every one of us has a role to play in shaping its future. So stay curious, stay informed, and keep looking up. That's it for this deep dive. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic, another insightful guest. Until then, keep those space helmets polished and those VR headsets charged